Boom, 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 bashers. Boom, 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 bashers. Boom, 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 boom. Gotta have a bass in that. I don't do bass, so maybe I can do it. Boom, 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 bashers. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday, which means I'll start sneezing because that's what happens when I start the live stream by myself. Because I always forget to take an Actifed, which is now called like wall fed because they don't make that anymore because apparently everybody was crushing it up and making crystal meth out of it. Then they took whatever drugs you could crush up and turn into crystal meth out of it, and then that company went out of business. So Walmart and Walgreens, sorry, bought the formula, which is some benign antihistamine, and packaged it as like wall fed. And it's so hard to find amongst all those big box brands. Zyrtec, and the only one that works for me is this stuff called Wall-Fed, formerly Actifed. It just takes away the snifflies and that's it. And it doesn't make you speedy, thank God, because this does. And yeah. So before we get started, I will say that after last week's chitter chatter, we were talking about my Diet Coke consumption, which I have nearly eradicated. I didn't drink it for 3 or 4 days. And then I was in the store and I saw a can of Coke and I was like, I'll have one. So I bought it and I left it in front of the little heater that I keep on Laverne because she's got this little blanket that I like to put the little space heater on just because it gets her real cozy. And I left it there. And then when I went to pick it up, it was hot, so I didn't drink it. So I had a couple of sips later and it tasted weird, so I didn't drink it. And then Paul brought a bottle into the house, and it was the middle of the night when I was working on stuff, and I had a couple of swigs of it, and I was like, I could definitely get rid of that crap. But me and a couple of you privately had a conversation about what that stuff does. And like I always said, I'll be the first guy to drop dead from whatever's in Diet Coke, which is phenylalanine, a phenylketonuric, whatever that is. So anyway, yeah, so I'm drinking coffee and salsa, the Gerolsteiner, and whatever. They're all the same. I have one of those bubble makers. I don't have that brand, but I have another brand, and you can make it as bubbly as you want. It's pretty good. I enjoy it. I really do. I never drank Diet Coke with food. Wristwatch check. Well, what else? Milk House. It could be Speedy, but it's Speedy Tuesday. Oh shit! Hold on a second. Oh boy, aren't I terrible? Where's my watch roll box with that in it? Oh man, how did you do that? Can't do that, right? Oh my God, it's Tuesday. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Aw. I mean, it's Tuesday. If it's Tuesday, this must be Belgium, right? If you're old enough to know what that movie is, you are my age or better. It's a really funny movie about a bunch of people who went on tour in Europe. And isn't that pretty? I'll put that in the watch roll. I usually put it back in its Rolex coffin, but to make things easier, I'll put it in this beautiful watch roll case that Ush gave me. Gorgeous, simply gorgeous. I'll put it in the box. Actually, the dust bag I leave out because I usually put my arm on it because I'm afraid I'm going to scratch the clasp on the Milgauss. So is the timing right? No, of course the timing is wrong on this. So I'm going to fix this really quick. It is 5:05, so I've blabbered on about nothing for 5 minutes. So, yeah, that's the way it's going to go. This clasp has got a really amazing click to it. And it's so pretty. It's Speedy Tuesday. Now I'm correct, right? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dirk Weekdays. It is Tuesday. We did Watch Fashion Police with the absolutely stunning Michaela yesterday. And we went through the main offenders. Well, the main fashion offenders. Everything was Omega, 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 Omega. You know, Timothy Chalamet had that really weird Cartier on, fit for a lady. We saw the Serpente. That was crazy. It was encrusted with bejeweled with diamonds. And that was on Only Murders in the Building, her name. That girl. But it was mostly Omega. I don't know if it was Omega sponsored event. I'm not really exactly sure, but it was Omega, Omega, Omega. There was a lot of Tresor going on. And Tresor is kind of like it's a dress watch from Omega, and they're beautiful and they're elegant and they're very simple, usually three-handers, sometimes two-handers, and actually mostly two-handers, aren't they? Various colors, all the usual offenders, Omega offenders were there. But Ricky Gervais wasn't there. And Joe, what is his name? Joe. Let me look up this guy's name real quick. Joe Coy. He brought us no joy, that guy. Imagine, though, they got to look at it this way. I think they had to scramble for him at the very, very last minute. They had to find a host that was, within the politically correct, ethnic, diverse background because, white people get too much stuff and all that. And he made it abundantly clear that that's what he thought. And apparently he's part Caucasian. But it felt like, and I'm not on my show, I don't generally do a lot of griping, but I watched the show like this the whole time I was watching that show because I seriously felt as if it was just an open season on white people. And it wasn't like ethnically diverse and bringing unity and doing all the things we're supposed to do. Forget that people are ethnically different because who gives a shit at the end of the day? I don't know why people do. And then to belabor the point, to just make horrific jokes about everybody in the room and and everybody in the room wasn't white. Look who won everything. So, and then it makes you wonder, am I winning awards because I fall into a particular demographic? It's like affirmative action awards, and I don't fall into one of those categories other than being a homosexual. And I guess that is one, but the gays got everything they want. So they're out. The gays are out because they have marriage and equality and defamation and the gays got everything, so let's find the next one. And this guy got on stage, and first of all, he was not funny. Let's just start with the fact that the guy's not funny in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want to sound like Matt Walsh or the Orthodox Jewish guy whose name I always forget, whom I agree with some of the time. Matt Walsh too, but I'll get to Matt Walsh in a second. That guy's a dick, and that's all I have to say about him. This Joe Coy got on there and just every friggin' joke was just aimed at white people. And it just seems so tired because, listen, white people did a lot of fucked up stuff. The Catholic Church did a lot of fucked up stuff. Everybody in the history of humanity has done fucked up stuff. How long do you hold people responsible for slavery 500 years later, 400 years later, 300 years later, 200 years later, 100 years later? What is it, about almost 200 years that it's over? It's a terrible thing that we have to grasp with and we have to deal with accordingly, with sensibility and moderation and reverence and all of those things. I don't think insulting everybody is going to get you anywhere. And that guy will never get hired again anywhere. I don't even think he'll get a Comedy Cellar gig. I think his career is kaputski. And it wasn't just because of that. I think it's just because he sucked. I don't know him. I don't know his work. And now I don't care. Because it was offensive, the whole show. Then it was like, I watched, people get shut out who shouldn't have got shut out, and people who won who just are like, I'm like, mean, the Golden Globes is supposed to be the booze fest, the boozy award show where everybody goes to have a good time, get drunk, make a fool out of themselves, and get some awards. And now I know that the Hollywood Foreign Press was dissolved, and now it's called like the Golden Globes International, because that makes it more, timely. But at the end of the day, it was just a sad sack fest. It didn't have any kind of interesting anything. A lot of long-winded speeches. I haven't seen, to be fair, I haven't seen a bunch of them. I saw, maybe three of them, three of the big films. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet because it's just the 3 hours is daunting to me. I know it's great. I know it's Christopher Nolan. I know Cillian Murphy's in it, and Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. Robert Downey Jr.'s, by the way, his acceptance speech was excellent because he's such a quirky weirdo, and everything about it was so Robert Downey Jr. And I really enjoyed that. Jim Gaffigan was funny, really funny, and then Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig, a bunch of white people. They were funny. And I just thought everybody else just seemed mean. I don't like mean. If you're going to be Ricky Gervais and rip everyone in the room for real things, obvious things, intentional things, which is what he does. His brand of humor is, sarcasm and irony and all the things that, make people laugh. But he's always right. And that's what's, people get offended, but they go, oh, you can't say that. And he goes, well, I just did. It was funny. But anyway, the Joe Coy thing, I'll just drop the hat on that. Let's see who's in the room. Let's make things fun. But I hated the Golden Globes. What did you think? Did anybody love the Golden Globes? Did you hate the Golden Globes? I don't know. Good evening, Carolyn. Good evening, Ray Ray. Good evening, Easy. Good evening, Andrew, Sergio, James Bastian. Aloha. Time flies. Hey, Christian Coleman. Hello. Cloud Talks, thanks. He said, fantastic job on the Diet Coke. Look, I'm working on it. I'm not going to say I'm never going to have it. I might have it every once in a while. SodaStream. I didn't mention that name on purpose. James Bastian says, my doctor told me to drink Diet Coke because I wasn't getting enough phenylketonuria. Well, that's funny. Blackbird SJP, SPs. How are you, man? Who else? Easy. Did I get everybody? Pretty much. Oh, we got a first super chat of the night, and it's from Andrew. Find my earrings. Just for being a better person than most. Grab a coffee on me. I'm grabbing it right now. Thank you so much. You're great. You're a wonderful person. Thank you so much for that. Everybody's favorite curmudgeons in the room. The USA left is super hyper-focused on racial BS and this gender cult BS. So un-American. The USA, of all places, your skin color doesn't matter. Well, it does, and it shouldn't, of course, because the United States was built so everyone could practice their own religion, separation of church and state, which we all know is not true. And it's mostly your guys' faults, and sometimes my guy's fault. Meaning, like, sometimes I act like a Republican. That's why you like me. But I'm mostly in the middle. Who are the ones that are constantly drilling it in your head about Jesus? It's, you know who that is. The left don't really talk about religion that much unless you're Muslim. Then you get all the headlines, which is fine. It's supposed to be a place where everybody's welcome. Give me you're hungry, you're tired, you're poor, and then we're just going to give you all the handouts in the world. That's what you wanted, right? I know how to tickle your fancy, my friend. I'm going to go again. The U.S. is a meritocracy, but they want a race and gender-based hierarchy. And white is the bottom, both with guilt because long-dead Southern Democrats fought for a war to keep slavery. That's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I just don't know when. When does that stop? Le Carré's in the room. When does that stop? When does it, I have nothing to do with slavery or any of that crap. I don't look at somebody and go, oh, he's black or he's this or I don't do that. Only if you deserve it. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, the blackest fucking part of New York City. Or it was. Come on. Jim Lasik says, just drink red wine. Your cardiologist thanks you. That's very true. I just found it was, Ricky Gervais is funny, he's timely, and he's spirited. This was just mean. And I don't like mean. Dirk hates mean. Dirk likes funny and he likes clever. Now, if you're going to be clever with clever racist jokes, then that's great because, like, I don't mind a good Irish drunk joke or how many gays does it take to get on a bar stool? You turn it upside down. It's funny. Why wouldn't that be funny? But this is not like jokes. It's almost like statements. It's almost like manifestos, if you will. I just think that is just a load of shit. And I think everybody needs to stop doing that. It's just annoying. Hey man, we're all on this rock together, and one day this rock won't be able to support us because you guys all won't stop fucking. There's too many people on the planet right now. And it's not the gay people. We're adopting all the ones that you fuck too much for. Not me, because I don't want kids. I just like cats and dogs. Just be kind, people. That's all you have to do. I want an award show. It's an award show. First of all, we're blowing smoke up very, very highly paid people's arses. That's what we're doing. All we're doing is seeing celebrities, great gowns, great jewelry, great watches. We're seeing all of that. We don't need political soapboxes. Fuck off. I hate that crap. I hated it when Brando sent that American Indian woman, Native American lady up on stage, and she refused the Oscar. At that time, maybe it was a little bit more timely because everything was, whoa, 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 whoa. It was all the stereotypes, and that probably gets very grating. I don't particularly like it when Irish are portrayed as drunks all the time. Oh, I have to endure it. Or when gay people are really swishy and everything's fierce and hey girl, oh my god, girl, and all that the vocal fry and all that stuff where every show has to have a token gay. That terrible show with Doogie Howser, Uncoupled, where his boyfriend breaks up with him after like 25 years of relationship. You know why? Because he's fucking annoying. I would have dumped his ass too. It's like bullshit. And then they have to have the one token guy, the Sanford, like on Sex and the City. Every show is gonna have the one token this or token that. Oh boy. Am I ranting much or not? But anyway, I thought you'd enjoy that, Topster. It's crazy. Let's look at Boston Collector is here. We're honored to see his presence. Dirk, sorry I didn't email you for a few days. 5 p.m. is tough for me the next couple. 5 p.m. is weird. I get it, but you know what? Here's the thing. I don't want to get involved with the Rebel streams, so I don't want to cross. That's why I do an hour and I get the out the door because of Timmy. I don't want to do that. And there's people. I don't know who else is doing live streams. Archie. I mean, listen, I still have a lot of respect for him, even though he has no respect for himself. But I still do. He was the guy that started me on my watch journey, made me want to learn about things and, Man on the Moon. And I wanted to know everything about that. I mean, I knew about them because my father-in-law is a big Speedy guy. It's just, I don't want to be involved in anybody's stream. John Doe says, but Dirk, the stereotypes about the Irish being drunks is true. Well, listen, the difference is, and this is great, before he went to rehab, Colin Farrell said, and this was so true. He said he was doing an interview. And this is, I guess, when he was drinking. He goes, in Ireland, we go out to the pub and we have a couple of jars, and you're out with your mates, you're out and having some fags and some pints and all that. He goes, over here, it's a fucking intervention, and that's true because the United States is the most judgmental country in the world. All we do is judge everybody for their color, for their sexuality, for what their habits are. Do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you this? Do you that? Do you top or you bottom or you all those things? It's just annoying. Whereas in Europe, they don't really do that. They don't do that. I mean, in Ireland, everybody drinks. In England, everybody drinks. In Germany, everybody drinks. They all drink daily. I'm not a daily drinker. I'm at, a couple of nights a month drinker because I like very, very fine wines. And me and Asheen and Dana and Emmett and Paul, we have this little wine club. Or when everybody lived here, it was the most drinking I had ever done in my entire life because we were all so close, less than a block away from each other. We'd sit down and we'd all chip in and we'd get cases of this and amazing first growth Bordeaux's and, Pichon Longueville Comtesse de Lalande, second growth, deuxième classé, amazing stuff. They're not, no one lives here anymore. It's just here in our little island. And, so we don't go out a lot. If we did, I mean, I probably, if I do go out, I have 2 glasses of wine because I don't drink hard liquor, and then I'm kind of done. Um, but so people, Irish people drink. It's the culture is in Italy, for example. People drink. They drink, but here's how they drink. They wake up and drink coffee all day. And then when it's, the afternoon, for it's time for pranzo, for lunch, they'll have a glass of wine, maybe 2. That's probably a lot. Then they'll go home and chill out and relax and go back to work, clean up, go out for dinner, have a couple of cigarettes, have some wine, have a aperitivo or digestivo after the thing. But then that's it. They've little, they're not guzzling pints of ale like the Irish and the British do. That's very heavy. Germany too. So is it true? But here it's everybody's so judgmental. Listen, when somebody has an alcohol or drug problem, they have an alcohol or drug problem. It means they cannot stop doing it. So they wake up, they slug the vodka, they crack open the beers. And that's not what Irish people do in Ireland. That's not what they do. They have 800,000 cups of tea a day. Probably 800,000. It's very weird. It's a very, very weird thing. But yeah, that's my story with that. Who else is in the room? Roar of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. That woman turns. You wasn't really. I don't know what language you typed. There was a trans woman, someone Schaefer, and wow, because I was making a comment during the Wash Police that she should really try some makeup. That's my job, to be a little cunty about fashion and stuff. Turns out that she's cis female. She was born male. She's cis male. And I was like, well, I take it all back. Really fantastic. But I just think, when we're going to watch award shows, it should just be about the entertainment. Can we just lose all the other crap? Let's enjoy the fashion and the diamonds and the watches and the performances and have some really fun comedy that doesn't insult someone. And I don't care who that someone is. This particular year and the last couple of years, it's mostly been about white people, because let's face it, and Jewish people, because they control Hollywood. And they have for a really, really long time. But then you have to wonder, well, why? Like the Jewish thing, that always cracks me up about the Jews run Hollywood. This is what makes me very curious about why the Jews run Hollywood. And you know why the Jews ran Hollywood? Because they could, and they did. Because they got up their asses. Jewish people have historically, why do you think they forget a biblical crap? Why do you think people are so incredibly jealous of Jewish people, the Jewish diaspora all over the world? Jews are very hardy people. They are very industrious people. They work hard. They know how to make money. They know how to control banks and run businesses and all that stuff. And I think everybody just started to hate them because they were jealous. I think that's the real reason. Because why the fuck else would it be? Because you meet somebody on the street, they just look like another white person for the most part. You can't say, oh, that person's Jewish, unless you want to be propaganda art and horrible Jew nose and all that stuff that they said Bradley Cooper was doing. Anyway, I think that shit is just incredible. Jews run Hollywood. White people run Hollywood. Well, yeah, they did because they could. And people who can do. And those who can't teach. That's the old joke. Toaster McDonkey. Everyone is a drunk. My Mexican family is full of alcoholism. I worked with Mexican people for 20 years at a Mexican restaurant, El Rio Grande, in New York City. The hardest working people I've ever met in my entire life. These people had 4 jobs, but way too many kids. I used to say, stop fucking. Use condoms, but we're Catholic. I'm like, well, Are you really? Are you? Is it? Did you marry into a Mexican family, or are you part Mexican? Mexicans do love the cerveza, but they don't drink it during the day. They go out after work and they drink. They do drink. They don't have an off switch. I will say that for the most part. I'm not generalizing, but I'm going to say that I have a lot of friends from that restaurant, people I worked with forever. And whenever we'd go out, like they'd be on the banquette when we were done. If we had a holiday party, forget it. It was a disaster, absolute disaster. Yeah. Samlet Consulting. That is your jingle, by the way. You said to me privately that you need a jingle, or you said it on Watch Fashion Please. That's the jingle. Samlet Consulting. Thank you for speaking cognitive reverie we all love, coming from a fellow Geminian, where banter is important. Listen, I don't know how to shut up. I'm a left-handed Gemini. And today we watched a TED Talk. We were just flipping around, because we got that Zumo box, which is a new streaming box that everybody has from Spectrum. And there was a whole TED Talks thing. So we went on. There was a guy talking about how homosexuality happens, on a cellular level. Like there's a DNA strand, and they found out where it is and how it works. And generally, nature dictates. Like if they did all kinds of studies, and it was like if there's 4 boys in a family, the fourth one or the last one is going to be the gay one, because it's nature saying that you're having too many, this body's producing too many children, they're not going to procreate. But because gay people are generally a little bit more gregarious and ingenious, there's a lot of things that gay people are famous for: fashion and creativity and blah 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 blah. Anyway, it was a very fascinating thing, and it was a scientific conversation with a cardiologist who has a PhD in genetics. And I was like, wow. It used to be like, oh, so now we don't even have to worry about people being born gay, because you're born gay on a cellular level, which is great. You yelling at me? Yeah. John Doe says we could learn a lot from Jews. We could, but lots of people decided to kill them over the millennia. And why do you think why did the Germans hate the Jews? And the Germans kill the Jews, and the Jews kill the Arabs, and the Arabs kill the hostages, and that is news. Because we can't stop being who we are. And they were jealous of the fact that the Jews ran all the businesses and all the banks. And that's why they dehumanized them and turned them into villains, because they didn't feel like their perfect Aryan race, who were mostly drunks and degenerates and deviants, like their Führer. So yeah, we could learn a lot. Well, we should learn a lot from all of those episodes of persecution and extinction and alienation, but we don't. Instead, you turn the focus onto somebody else. So, Asians are the du jour right now. They're having a big moment in making great movies and sweeping awards and all those kinds of things, which is great. So you can't touch them. Gays, like I said, they got everything that they want, so the gays are done. And so let's just turn it all on white people now, because they never got it. But try being a white guy, middle-aged guy in New York, and trying to find a new job. Not so easy. I was replaced by a trans woman for my last job, whom I trained. And she was cool, and I didn't even know. And then somebody told me, and I was like, oh. And then he told me, sorry, because he's a man now. And he told me, and those are hard. And I don't know if it's inexcusable or what, but listen, it's hard. Sometimes you forget what, and I'm not into the whole them, it pronoun shit. I think it's nonsense, and I think everybody needs to totally fuck off on that. But when you're addressing somebody as he or she, like she identifies as a he, and he was very cool and a very good bartender, and he quit a couple of days after they hired him to replace me. You know why? Because that place were a bunch of dicks. Anyway, that's my story. Ray says the Catholic Church rhythm method. Yeah, right. I have 3 kids, red-faced, heart shape. Yeah, the rhythm method. Well, I mean, Catholics were told that using prophylactics is a sin because you're supposed to have as many kids. I mean, can we just get to the nitty gritty? That needs to stop for religions to start saying, okay, the Jews are a different story because tons of them were exterminated. For this round, Yugoslavians, Milosevic, all of these bastards, Pol Pot, all these fuckers throughout the history of time that destroyed entire ethnic groups of people. It's just not even believable. But I mean, we need to take that out of doctrines that you need to just plant your seed and procreate all over the place because there's too many people on this rock. There's just too many fucking people. I don't know. We should look at some watches, right? Because I'm getting a little sweaty. It's 5:30. I didn't think my rant about the Golden Globes was going to go on that long. Let's take a look. We got Tom. Look at that. He's got his Seiko 6189. Can I blow that up? I can't, can I? Because I have it in a mail thing. Let me see. Will that blow up? No, won't. But that's very nice. Look at that. I love that. It almost looks like a Mark II Omega, right? Speedmaster Mark II. Very, very nice. We got here. This is from Rob Peltier. Good day, Dirk. Here's a shot of the one that started my trip down the watch rabbit hole. Look at that. It's a Monaco. It's a Monaco. It's a Hoyer too. That's the real dealio, isn't it? That is seriously the real deal. I mean, if you were going to get one of those things, wouldn't it be that? It would be, right? That's beautiful. I love everybody sending me their wrist shots. Jim Lassick, look at that. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Who doesn't want one of those? Isn't that color just the most ridiculous thing ever? It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. Wow. Look at that thing. I mean, as we all know, Daytona's had zenith movements in them for up until not long ago. I just think that's a more special piece. I really do. And it doesn't have the ugly pushers that the Daytona. I'm not a Daytona fan. I know some of you have Daytona and you love them, but I'm a Speedmaster guy. And I just think a Rolex is a gussied up. I mean, I know they're waterproof and all that. I mean, wouldn't it be just so great if Omega just made the Moonwatch waterproof? It would be so easy. I don't know why they don't do it. And you don't have to put the stupid screw down locks on the pushers. You could just, gasket them to death. I think it would be great. It's kind of silly that you can't even take a shower with one. I mean, if I have my Speedy on, I need to take a shower, it comes off. If I'm washing the dishes, it comes off. I'm done. I can't do it. Cannot do it. The other day, this watch is very old. This is from it's like 1990. So can you see that? Look at that. Oh, look, you can see it. I loomed it up. The loom on here is actually not bad considering the dial. Before I got it, before Asheen gave this to me in Venice in 2021, and you can see it. Yeah. Oh, look at that. You can actually see green, can you? Oh no, you can't. I'm looking on my camera. The loom is actually pretty good. The dial's got some a little bit of wavering on it. It definitely was serviced, but they never changed the hands. There's no loom on the hands. They're dead. But anyway, I digress. John Paleo, look at this absolutely gorgeous piece. Is 1958 Longines. Now look at that. Look at the hour marker on that. How does that even work? Does anybody know how that works? Are you in the room tonight, John Play? You are, right? I saw you in there. And I didn't miss your comments. I'm going to go back to the comments. We're just looking at watches right now because it's the 35th minute of the hour, and I like to do your wrist shots because you're important to me. Because you matter to me, and that's why you're the only reason I need to get by. That is from the Peter Criss solo album, an album that no one owns. But I know all the words to all those songs because I was an impressionable 14-year-old. James Bastian with his Pitsman. Look at this thing. I've never heard of this watch brand in my life. And it's absolutely very cool. It's very reminds me of that really old Omega from 1928. What is that though? I should know that one off the top of my head, but I don't. That is beautiful. I like the small seconds with the red chemin de fer. It's beautiful. Great font. The font is very reminiscent of the Omega. I'll try to pull that up in a minute. That's very, very cool. Boom, boom, boom. Rob Pelletier. Pelletier. Look at this. He's got a slew of Omegas for your enjoyment. Magic Mike 71 goes, I do have the Peter Criss CD and I recognize the lyrics immediately. Well, that's the kind of sugar Papa likes. It's the most derided album. Kiss put out 4 solo albums in 1978 for the rabid fan base. And, you know, Aces was the biggest seller because it had New York Groove on it. My favorite is Paul Stanley's record. Jeans, nobody cared about, but everybody's on it. Helen Reddy and Cher and Tony Tennille and everybody. But Peter Criss has sold like 16 copies. And nobody liked it, but it's really jazzy, and I really like it. I don't care what anybody says. Look at this. Oh, man. Look at that. He's got the original Seamaster. Oh, is that? It's got a... No, that's it. Okay, that's the one from GoldenEye. GoldenEye, lace and leather. GoldenEye. Look at that. Now that, my friends, is a Railmaster. With small seconds, beautiful. I love these little Megathon. It's an Omegathon. Are you having an Omegasm? I can't take credit for that, and you know who can. That's pretty great. It's an Omegathon for an Omegasm. Will Ferrell was wearing the No Time to Die at the awards the other night, which I thought was great. He's a very large man, by the way. I walked past him on Fifth Avenue in Rockefeller Center 15 years ago. And he's a big dude. I'm not a big dude, but he's probably 6'3". He's big. And he's big. And he's probably got a big wrist. And that's got a big presence, this watch. It's great. Out of all of these, my friend, that's the one I'd want. I'd love a Railmaster or a Ranchero. And I got to stop saying how much I want a Ranchero because, not that I'm John Mayer, but I just feel like Rancheros are the next big Omega that people are going to want. I really do. I think they're going to want that. It's a cool thing. I mean, those 3 watches, Speedmaster, Seamaster, and Railmaster, and the Ranchero was like the bastard child, and nobody gave a shit. Old Watch Lady, are you around? Do you have one? I miss Old Watch Lady. She hasn't been on the chat. I feel like I've done her wrong. Oh my God, it's a super chat. Time to unwind for £1.99. Dirk, what's your favorite flower? That's an interesting question, and I don't think anyone has ever asked me what my favorite flower is, but I'm gonna say daisies. I love daisies. I think they look like spring. I like crocus too. I like anything that says renewal. I like anything that just reeks of spring. Easter time or Passover time. Easter time, when you'd go to church and the whole street, we used to walk to church because I went to Catholic school and the whole shebang. And when the buds were falling off the trees and the flowers were blooming, the first ones up were always the crocus. And my neighbors had black-eyed Susans and daisies, and they were just absolutely gorgeous. They were gorgeous, and I love them. These are beautiful, man. Beautiful collection. Oh, this is a letter from my dear friend, Cat Moss. That, by the way, this was a picture I sent to him because this was my beautiful Dinga. She was a dog I found on the side of the Long Island Expressway in 1991. She was about 4 months old here. I had her for 17 years. And she is, I I was going to pick up my phone and show it to you. She's well, you all know how obsessed I am with my cat. She was the love of my life, and turns out these Chinese guys were legally breeding dingoes in Flushing, and she was part of their brood. That was the strap, the harness that she had on her, and it snapped, and she got loose, and she wound up very far away from where they were. But they did wind up getting arrested. I had put signs up, took her picture, this picture, put signs up everywhere. Did you lose your dog? She was the friendliest, sweetest, most wonderful dog in the history of dogs. I absolutely loved her, and we were conferring about that stuff. But he did send me pictures of his. Look at this. Is that a Kermit? Is that a Kermit and a Hulk? What do you got? You got both of them? Oh, you do. Okay, I didn't get a chance to look at these yet, but he's got this cool thing, and he says that these are original Marvel drawings, which is very cool. Look at that. Isn't that great? How did you do that? That's very cool. But I know that you have an actual Hulk too, right? Yeah. Oh, maybe they all are Hulks. Maybe it's just the lighting. I mean, hey, obviously you didn't get out when that watch was like 28 grand. Remember when the Hulk went through the roof? Holy crap. Yeah, those are great. I mean, I bought the counterfeit. I have a counterfeit sub only because it was really cheap, and I had fun haggling with the Chinese lady on the street. She came up to, I was walking down, and this makes you feel like a dirty whore, so don't do it. Really makes you feel like a dirty whore. I had the fake Melgas for a really long time, but now I don't. And that one was procured in Athens, and I thought it was maybe a black market or fake. I didn't buy it with the auspice that it was a fake. I thought it was like stolen or something, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll take it." It was cheap, it was pretty cheap, but it was fake. I was walking down Canal Street, and this woman goes, "Omega, Rolex, Patek Philippe," and I went, "Really? You have Omega, Rolex, and Patek Philippe?" I said, "Okay, I want to see Emil Gas," and then she brought out the Z Blue, and it was orange. She left on a scooter and came back like 15 minutes later, and she came back with a sub. I said, "I want to see a Submariner. I want to see a Milgauss. I want to see what did I ask for Omega? Because I know that they don't have any 60th anniversaries. They've never made them. I've looked to see if they made them. They didn't. I asked to see a Moonwatch, and I wanted to see an Aquaterra, and she brought them out, and most of them were really laughable. And then I said, "Yeah, the sub's not bad. I know the head is too big. It's but the bracelet is really nice. It's actually, listen, don't buy these. They're terrible. Don't do it. But it actually runs nice, sounds good. And I use this. I do wear it because I can beat the shit out of it and not care, because I paid $50 for it. Because I said, "How much?" She said, oh yeah, she did bring out a Calatrava that just looked like a joke. So who doesn't want a Calatrava? I was like, you know what? For a cheap amount. She said she wanted $250, and I laughed and I said $50. She goes, $225. I said $50. She said $200. I said $50. 100, 175, $50, 150, $50, and I walked away. She goes, $50. So I bought it. I mean, you know what? It looks nice. It's not bad. I'll put it on. I mean, listen, you shouldn't do this unless you want to be a dirty whore, and it should go against everything we all stand for. And it is gross. But you know what? If it gets nicked, if somebody wants to drag it off my dead body, I won't care. You know, it's not bad, but it does make you feel like a dirty whore. $50. I had a job then. Now let's put on a real-time piece, please. With lots of history and lots of beautiful things. Yeah, don't do that. But you know, everybody should buy one. I mean, it's fun. But you know, you can't wear it and don't pretend it's real. But it was dirty whore. I felt like a dirty whore. But like I said, $50. So like when you have a job, you don't care about $50. And I didn't care. And I was like, I walked out of there. You know, that watch head is way too big. And you know, I didn't notice the stupid shit until later. You know, I looked at it and I was like, oh, it looks pretty good. Pretty good. but it's not pretty good. Ooh, Kieran Kelly guitarist. Kieran Kelly guitarist. That's gonna be his sound. And I still have that up. Thank you for asking me what my favorite flower is. Send me a bouquet. I'd love it. Here's a bluesy, a gold bluesy. You know who has one of those? Machine O'Malley has one of those. Unfortunately, oh, he goes, my wrist, but unfortunately not my watch. You know the owner of it. I do know the owner of that. Oh, it's his exact watch. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, that's one of the most beautiful things ever, isn't it? I mean, if you're gonna wear a gold watch, and so I was just recently at the tax man because I have some weird tax issues that I'm trying to solve, and so I'm sitting going through it all. I had a problem with the state not taking out enough money, and then they got back to me, and it got ugly. So I'm clearing that all up, and I'm sitting with the tax guy, and he's got this watch, not a bluesy, but he's got an old sub, like a 2001 with the holes, and I was like, oh man, I really love before they went super case, man. The super case is just, and this is a super case. That's what it looks like, even though this is a complete fraud. It's too chunky. I think this is elegant and graceful and has flair and style, and I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I love this watch. Who doesn't? Kieran Kelly. Kieran Kelly guitarist. Oh man. I mentioned the 326304050060001. Right, yeah. Somebody I know. I don't know. It's a disease. He said somebody mentioned the reference, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the racing with the yellow chronograph hands. Yeah. Probably because that's one of the models I really, really loved and I really, really, really wanted because I think it's special. Look at all the work that goes into this particular watch. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorites, man. I love it. I mean, it's funny because it's got the 45-degree angle tachometer. It's not typical. The racing is a totally different thing. It's more, slanty. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I love it. It's chunky. I love it. Yeah. I just have to say this. Bruce Sloan, gold and blue, blah. Gold and blue, yes, dude. You're wrong. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the photography. Hey, Kieran Kelly, guitarist. What kind of photography do you do this with? What do you use? Because this is beautiful photography, man. I've said this to you before. Oh man, well there's a bokeh shot, right? Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. That's really lovely. Obviously, you're using a DSLR, like a real one, like that does real photography. Quite beautiful. Quite beautiful. Oh yeah, it's a great shot. Look at this. Oh, it's a sexy machine, isn't it? That's a sexy machine, man. I thought you were in the room, Kelly. Kieran Kelly guitarist. Are you in the room? Yeah. Oh yeah, these are beautiful. He sent me a whole potpourri. Great shots, man. Isn't that a great watch? There's, like I said, when did I say this? In the last show? There are so many Speedmasters that comes in so many flavors. It's like Baskin Robbins. There's not a Speedmaster you can't find that you will love. There definitely isn't. Beautiful. Love it. And here's Kieran Kelly guitarist. Tudor. Look at this. Look at the leaves on that thing. Wow. Look at this. It's the cherry gold two-tone, right? Wow. Wow, that really, it looks like they put more effort into their watches sometimes than Rolex. There's so much effort goes in. They're so inexpensive. They are big. They're deep as fuck, though, aren't they? I do not like all the not to insult you because I love your taste in watches. I don't like all that. What do you call those? Gussets? There's too many of them. There's one screw here, there, or the other. But yeah, Tudor. I don't know. Tudor just has never hit me over the head with the lightning bolt yet. It just hasn't happened with the Thunderbolt. It's mostly the snowflake thing. I don't know. But I'm starting to come around. I think I start to come around on all of them. And that's what happens. I start to come around on all of them. I mean, obviously not some things, but this one's very beautiful. And I love the date at 6. I love the unadorned date at 6. Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. I like the gold they use. Now, do they use the same steel as Rolex? I mean, it's the same company, but they operate separately. I'm just wondering. Look at these beautiful. Look at these shots. You're working like National Geographic watches in the wild. Wow. Kieran, now he's on here as Kieran's Guitar School. Haya just took them on iPhone while on walkers with Doggy. Really? I have a 14 Pro and I don't think it looks that good. I don't know. What iPhone do you have? The Pro Max? These are beautiful shots, man. Is that a Hesalite? Does that have a Hesalite crystal on it? That's not a sapphire. It's not a sapphire crystal. Wow. Well, look at this. These are some. That's a very big crown, by the way, on the Tudors. Very big. And where are we now? And the last Kieran Kell, look what he's got. The land tortoise, which we gave away last week, hasn't been sent yet. It's getting shipped to me, and I'm writing a note. Was WJ4. Where have you been, by the way? Where has he been since he won the watch? Is there any? But he knew all the answers, so can't be Andrew WJ74, right? These are beautiful. It's a beautiful watch. I mean, everyone should love this watch. I think it's like a Hulk, but better. It's got like, I love the broad arrow hand, the hour hand. What a beautiful watch. These are iPhone shots, dude. They're amazing. They're amazing. That's it. Oh, that's me with my green screen. You can see it. Lovely. Let's go through the chats to make sure I didn't miss anything. I love the green. Yeah, me too. Hit the Apex said old school had Canon. Yeah, well, everybody's got their. I mean, I've got the 14 Pro, and I had an 11 Pro before, and I swear to God, the iPhone 11 took better pictures than my 48 megapixel iPhone 14 Pro. I just felt like it did. I just never really thought this camera was so great. Ray said Will Ferrell did well with comedy after quitting drums with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. I mean, that's a running joke, right? That those guys look exactly the same. And they do a little bit. And they're both like the same height. Chad Smith, great drummer. I'm not a fan of that band. Because I'm not a 90s music guy, I mean, obviously I'm more elite. Well, I mean, I wasn't cognitive. I wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I wasn't aware of 70s music when it was the 70s. I just knew what was on the radio. And my sister was a big rock fan, so she curated my talents in loving music. And one of the first songs I ever fell madly in love with on the radio was the Raspberries. Go All the Way. Down, 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 my yo, yeah. What never will be when she kissed me and said, baby, please go all the way. I loved it. We went out, bought the 45, and I was more aware of the 80s bands when they came out because I was an aspiring singer, and so it was, the hard rock and metal and other things and the opera music that I had to listen to for my classes and stuff. Which I liked too. To this day, I love Monserrat Caballé, and I'm not a big Callis fan, and obviously Pavarotti and all those guys. But the 90s lost me. The Red Hot Chili Peppers and Nirvana and Soundgarden and all that Seattle shit, I didn't like it. It's not my thing. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I look back on it now and I like some of it, but then I resented it. I didn't even like Guns N' Roses when they came out. I was like, what's this? What is that? And I remember, and you see Axl Rose, and he looked like he was 12, and he was like standing at the bus with the hayseed in his mouth, and then down, and I just looked at that and I went, oh man, we're fucked. And that was 87. Forget about Nirvana. I think Guns N' Roses changed it because they went from everybody was all poofy and I got a haircut by the way. Haircut. I got a 30s haircut. You can see how salt and peppery I am, right? Somebody asked me to do it online and I said no. Scotty H. Oh my goodness gracious. $19.99. Thank you, kind sir, for Laverne. It's all for Laverne, my friend. Everything I do is for her. I don't give a shit about me. Okay, I just go to a $15 barber and at these days it's not about me at all. But thank you so much, guys. Do you have a question that we could wax on about for a while? Hit me up in the comments. Eddie says that Blink 182 ruined rock music. I don't like any of that music. I didn't like new metal. I didn't like Limp Bizkit or any of those bands. It's just not my thing. And it's interesting how we all seem to love the music of our time. Like but I love the Beatles and I love Led Zeppelin and I love Rush. They were not of my time. Well, Rush was. But the Beatles and Led Zeppelin weren't. But everybody loves the Beatles, don't they, right? Sam Led Consulting. Dirk, what do you think of prog rock? Alan Parsons. Is that prog? I mean, is that prog? I mean, when I think of prog, I think of Yes and Rush and ELP and yeah. I love Alan Parsons. My God. Is that Turn of the Cards? That's an amazing record. Yeah, I love prog. I always loved that than I loved anything. I mean, obviously I grew up a Kiss fan when I was a kid, but that's like, that's like the entry level. It's like the first time you buy a coach ticket and you move up to business and first. I never wanted to be in a band like Kiss because, that's just, hey people, my limousine, you like the way the wheels roll. It's just sexy lyrics and stupid, like I love the Scorpions, but did you ever hear their lyrics? They're obscene. I don't like any of that sexual entendre lyrics, so I've always preferred prog, but I didn't want to be in a prog band. I wanted to be in like Iron Maiden or Queensryche or one of those bands. I wanted to be in a proggy, somewhat prog. So my particular milieu that my band wound up in is called progressive metal because we were proficient enough in our individual instruments to be proggy and to meander a bit. It wasn't just shooby-doo rock and roll. So yeah, I liked all that. I love prog. I loved it. Yeah. Scotty H, 1999. You have a question? Come on. It's your floor. The floor is yours. The floor is yours, Scotty H. Thanks so much, because everybody's got a lot of questions here, but you paid for it. You deserve some time. Kieran Kelly's got a model below mine. Motherfucker. I just think I got a bum one. I mean, I'm using it right now. This is my iPhone 14. I use it as my camera. And actually, I got a new stand that magnetically sticks on the back of my iMac, because I have an iMac. And I use it as my camera for the YouTube stream. And I didn't do the math when I was looking at it when it came, and it came yesterday. And I can only use the selfie camera. So I'm actually using the selfie camera. And it turns out the selfie camera and the one on the back are the exact same camera, except for that one lens that's 48 megapixels. Like anybody gives a shit about that. Yeah. Here we go. Ooh, RP 1960, $4.99. Hey, guys and girls and beautiful people. Thank you so much for the super chats. It helps immensely with the channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because we're almost at 2,000 subscribers. And I'm trying to get to 10,000. I know that's a big thing to ask, but things have been going pretty well and we've been moving up really fast. So I would like to try to get to 10,000 sometime in the next couple of months, maybe by the summer. That would be amazing. And we talked about some new content, doing some street stuff. I might even do some pre-recorded stuff, edited stuff. But I like the interaction. I really dig it. Irish Pandemonium says, "Hello, Dirk. I'm the second eldest of 9 children. Goddamn rhythm method, it ain't working. Hee hee. Great show. Thanks, you sloucher." I mean, my dad was one of 9, and his mom was one of 10. My friend Mary's got 10 kids. Her sister has 9 kids. I mean, amazing. I mean, it's too many kids. It's a lot of kids. Back in the day, listen, you didn't have YouTube. You didn't have, Chrono 24. You didn't have Chatterbait and OnlyFans. So what did you have? Your wife or your husband. People were bored. There was no TV. So what did they do? They had sex. That's how it worked. Eddie says Gene Simmons has sued 4 Kiss cover bands that just played in bars and didn't make a lot of money. They did it because they love Kiss, and imagine having Gene sue for it. I know that he has done that, but he's taken a back seat on that. He now kind of endorses a bunch of them, which is nice. But Gene's 9 to suicide. Yeah, Scotty H. No question. I really enjoyed your show. You should do one of the monthly membership things. I will. I just don't want to come off greedy at this point because the whole idea is to turn this into my full-time job so I can move to Italy because we just want to go. It's like things are not good here. Like the people who bought our building are extremely unkind and litigious, and I have a rent stabilized apartment that I've lived in this apartment for 31 years. And my landlord died, and my new landlords and they illegally took over every apartment in the building. You're not allowed to give it to family members. They did that, and they are like legally trying to get rid of me. They can't. At the end of the day, they won't be able to do it, but still, it's just been so ugly. And we've always wanted to move to Italy, and Paul's got family there, and Asheen's there, and it's my happy place. So I'm trying to turn this thing. I want to do memberships, I want to do Patreon and all that stuff, but I feel like I've got to get better at this. I've got to, pay my dues. I don't think it would be cool off the bat to just come out of here and just, think that I'm Mr. Beast or any of that stuff, because I'm not. I see how it took Oshin to build his channel a couple of years, and he's done really, really well. And I would really like to do that. But like I said, I don't have to have a particular speciality. Like, yeah, I can talk watches and all that stuff, but he creates content. I just keep you company for a while, and I love talking to you. And I'd like to have some of you on as guests. Kind of want to make this a friendlier place for people to go. But anyway. Tom Rogers, Laverne treats after a month to let it age. A bit thoughts on the Beatles now and then. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, Tom Rogers, $4.99. I think it was all right, But like anything, when you are the Beatles and you inarguably or arguably, however you want to look at it, produce the best canon of any group in the history of recorded music, anything that comes after it is like Free as a Bird. I didn't think was so great, doesn't Paul have any leftover tracks that the Beatles could play on? Because the John ones, because I hate John Lennon's solo career. I just think it was crappy. I hate Imagine. I'm like, that guy wrote A Day in the Life, and everybody exalts him for Imagine. And I just don't think it's all right. I mean, anything that Yoko Ono had anything to do with, I can't stand because she's a witch, and I don't enjoy her, and I don't enjoy the influence she had on him, So, what are you going to do? I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either, but I was just like, how good could it be? It's because they're not all for crafting that, and that's what they did. Anyway, then we got Eddie, $5, New York City. Do you like the landlord? Do you think the landlords are prejudiced of you and your partner because it would be illegal as fuck? Well, dude, she already called me the F word. I actually went to the police and everything. We have this roof deck that she wants to get rid of because she said it was illegal, and I've rented the apartment with it, and she just wants to get rid of it. Anyway, long story short, one day these guys came out of nowhere, and they were up there to remove it, and I called the police. And before the police got there, she used the F word on me. It rhymes with maggot. So, do I think she's prejudiced of us? Yes, I do. 100%. Because you know what? Like I said earlier about jokes and stuff, I don't care. I hear all those words in movies and stuff all the time. But when somebody says it to you for realsies and means it, and they say it to your face, by the way, she looks at you like this. She looks at you sideways. She can't look at you in the face. I've had 2 conversations with a woman. She's a sociopath because she just looks at you like that. Anybody who can't look you in the eye cannot be trusted. That's for sure. Yeah. So when she said that to me, she said it with absolute hatred. So I'm like, listen, I'm, like picking out Jewish people in a field. You're not going to pick me out. I'm not Sachet Chante. I'm a regular Joe Met fan. I'm a man in the streets and queen in the sheets. That's how it goes. And that's all. I don't put on airs. I don't have a shtick. I don't, I'm not out to change the world. I'm not jumping on any floats. I'm not doing it. I'm just living my life with the person I love, and that's it. I'm not trying to do anything else. Yeah. Bruce Lim says, thank you, Eddie, by the way. Says stories, Dirk. Sheen does stories. We all want stories. Go for it. I got stories. Well, we'll start with some. Well, tomorrow's classic bashers with Sheen. He says he's going to be there, so don't worry about it. Easy says not cool. No, it's totally not cool. Tobster McDonkey never liked the Beatles that much. More into the Dead and Fish. Well, obviously you're a pot smoker because all my friends who smoked pot liked the Dead, and I had never tried pot, so I never liked the Dead. I don't like the Rolling Stones. I mean, they've got a couple of songs I like, but whatever. Ray. Oh, man. Dirk, this is the most heartwarming shows on YouTube. Keep doing what you're doing. Build it and they will come back. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just got to be yourself. And you guys keep me some pretty good company. And I look forward to every show. I've been having so much fun. Like, I was scared when we started it and I was making those stupid thumbnails and it just wasn't working out. Anyway, everybody wants to know, JS, who was my guest a couple of weeks back and one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world who got sick, he's doing fine. He got out of the hospital. It wasn't an issue with his heart. He had pneumonia, double pneumonia, and he's doing really great. But thank you for all of your warm wishes. That is a lot. And he says, well, she can't do that, man. That's a hate crime. Well, I filed a hate crime against her. But you know what? You'd be surprised. I mean, I had the nicest cop in the whole wide world. Officer Menendez. She was one of the most lovely people. And I actually had a meltdown. I mean, she said it to me in the hallway. I didn't say anything to her because she had an argument with me earlier when the cops were coming in and all this stuff. And she said it to me and I froze. And I was going to get sandwiches for Paul and his mom who were here because, they were trying to take the deck away. So they were sitting out on the deck and I was, the police were here and blah, 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 all this stuff. I just walked down the stairs like a zombie. I walked a block and a half to the precinct, which is right down the street. And I walked in the door. And there was a cop there, and I said, can I talk to somebody? And then I just had a meltdown. I totally broke down because I just couldn't believe that anybody said that to me. I didn't think that could happen to me. I didn't think I would react that way, but I did. And then I sat down with this amazing police officer. And it took me like a half an hour to spit out what happened. And she went and got me a glass of water. I mean, it was amazing. She was so nice to me. She was very comforting. And I just apologized profusely because I just, it's not like you're on the street and somebody goes, hey, faggot, yeah, what's up, doo-doo-doo, or whatever. This was like somebody zeroing in on you. Like right to, well, actually like that because she doesn't look at you. And then, she meant that to hurt, and it did. And sticks and stones, I always said, you drunk Mick, fag, whatever, doesn't really affect me. But when somebody means to hurt you, she doesn't know me. She doesn't know me at all. She's never been in my apartment. She never had an inspector come and inspect the building. She did everything wrong to do what she's doing. But, whatever. She'll get hers in the end, legally. RP160 says some miserable people just don't want anyone else to be happy. Well, this is exactly true. You know, Eddie says, I only asked because Oshin mentioned that you had problems with these people, but he never provided details. Oshin said that they're making a life of living hell, and it sounds like they are. Listen, I've lived here for 31 years. I had the greatest, gayest landlord in the whole wide world. He used to take us to dinner, and he was kind and sweet and amazing. And we had this super for the same amount of time who I always thought was a good guy, but it turns out he inherited a lot of stuff from in the will of the landlord, and he did a bunch of nefarious things in the sale of the buildings so he could profit off of it. And you know what? Like, what's happening now is I'm like constantly being dragged into court over nonsense, from the building department and the housing department, and I just live here and pay the rent. I never caused any problems. We're nice people, good neighbors. She's just trying to make our lives miserable, and bad people. There's bad machines, very bad machines. But that's it. Like, I've done my homework. I've brushed up on all that stuff, and all those things. Easy says, when racism and prejudice ever leave the planet, maybe when we actually have to leave the planet. Well, I don't know if it's ever curable. As you know, I watch a lot of Star Trek. I've said this 1,000 times, and Enterprise is my favorite show because I love all the little parables that are in there. It's amazing stuff for you to come away with, like the Ferengis are the Jews of space, and it's like you see the racism, you see it. The Borg are, people from the East. Gene Roddenberry did that on purpose because he wanted to evoke those kind of feelings about people. And I remember watching Deep Space Nine, which is a show that I hate. And I'll end on this because it's ridiculous. I'm going way over. I couldn't watch it because I just thought it was the most derogatory thing I've ever seen. They had Ferengis as like miserly merchants and, people trying to swindle people in deals. And then it was like, wow, that is like the worst stereotype I've ever seen. It was horrific. It was terrible. But yeah, it's never going to go, Hit the Apex says, money and happiness. But listen, man, I wouldn't mind winning the lottery. I would, like I said, I'd take whatever I need, not a whole lot, enough to do what I got to do for me and mine, and then just give the rest to St. Jude's and any animal charity, or start an animal charity, because I don't need that crap. None of us need that crap. None of us do. Anyway, I'm going to end on that. Easy says he enjoyed Picard's. I haven't finished watching that, but I love Strange New Worlds. Anyway, that's my time. I'm a little over, but I want to thank you for asking and for the super chats. Guys, couldn't be more kind. And please like and subscribe if you don't already. Tell a friend. I'd like to get up to 2,000 pretty soon. It looks like we're going to get there. And, just remember, there's a couple of things you can do in life. Hold the door open. Say please and thank you. And always remember to greet people with hello and good evening and good night. It's that easy. Hold the door open. Say please and thank you. Just show people that you recognize them, that they're seen, and that you're seen. We'll all be seen that way for who we are. On that note, thanks so much and have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the big man, and then I'll be back on Thursday and Friday. Thanks, you guys. Love having you.